Hello there, Commonwealth from you. 2023 is behind us, and with it, 7 years since Nintendo Switch launched on March 3rd, 2024. The time is here for a successor and new system presentation, but there's still questions that remain, namely the reveal. Well, in this video, we will detail when and in what form this new console is likely to be presented. So be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell, and let's get into it. Reports of 3rd generation NVIDIA DLSS upscaled 4K when docked. Nintendo's own first 4K titles, dual screen patterns for on-dock play, colored button layout control speculation, and the big prospect of backwards compatibility. Add to that a better online experience, far bigger third-party support with potentially the next Witcher, Monster Hunter, and even GTA 6 day one on the system, and we are really talking. Since all of this could be the recipe for the ultimate Nintendo, or actually scratch that, gaming system of all time. Just what is required to replace the most successful Nintendo home console of all time, Nintendo Switch 2. Though entering 2024 doesn't mean that Nintendo's fiscal year is over, and this is what you need to keep in mind when we think about the reveal and release of Nintendo Switch 2, or simply Nintendo's next system. Since the fiscal year doesn't conclude until the end of March, and it is this hurdle right here that might stand in the way of a repeat of 2017. You know, the January Nintendo Switch presentation, the one that detailed the pricing, games lineup, and more for Nintendo's next system after the Wii U disaster. A time of desperation but also hope for Nintendo, where it needed the world's attention to reclaim the crown they had dropped after the Wii generation. Is an unfathomable feat, and now 7 years since that presentation, things are very different. E3 is no longer around, and Nintendo Switch completely dominates and has already won the generation, especially in Japan. The same rush to reveal and present is not there, as their games still sell and Super Mario Bros. Wonder dominated the 2023 holiday sales. And there are still release dates on the calendar up to late March, including Princess Peach Showtime. Plus, we have to remember one thing that pretty much everyone is forgetting. Nintendo likes to tease first before detailing the full thing. We saw this with the Nintendo Switch first look trailer in October 2016, before the Nintendo Switch presentation in January 2017. Could thus a reveal trailer come first? Or could Nintendo just do a longer presentation, focus on both hardware and software? You know, what Sony did in June 2020 when revealing the PS5. Though there, they waited until the very end to reveal the system itself. Nintendo doesn't do that though. Product first, then games you can play on it. Just what they did with the Nintendo Switch in 2016, Switch Lite in 2019, and OLED model in 2021 reveals. With that said, the 2-year pattern was broken in 2023, so we shouldn't expect exactly the same behavior when the Switch successor is revealed. January is definitely a possibility, but it might be a little early for Nintendo, as we'll soon get back to. But what format is the most likely? For what we know, we could get a Nintendo Direct announcement online at any point within the next few months, announcing the reveal of Nintendo's next system the day or even week after. Hosted by Yoshiaki Koizumi, who only shows up if a new piece of hardware or a new Mario game shows up. That is how it could be. Nintendo Directs have pretty much become the only presentation format for big Nintendo reveals, even while E3 lasted, so up to 2021. A January Direct is an option, but not my biggest bet, as it might be a little too soon. Why? Based on the games lineup, since Princess Peach Showtime isn't the last in the 2024 lineup. We also have Luigi's Mansion 2 HD and Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door HD for the summer, possibly from June to September. The first Nintendo Direct of the year usually pops up in February, but I have a feeling that Nintendo might want to wait until March and only give us a new trailer of Princess Peach Showtime and Splatoon 3 Side Order DLC instead in February. After all, March is the month of the Nintendo Switch 7th anniversary. Yes, March 3rd is on a Sunday this time, so we'll not see the presentation on that day. But who knows, the week after is a possibility. Still, we have to face the facts. Nintendo's next system is most likely coming out in the next fiscal year. That is to say, after March. Why does this matter? since Nintendo's hardware during the Switch generation, and even before that systems back to the Wii, were fully unveiled and released within the same Nintendo fiscal year, or April to April. The Nintendo Switch was revealed in October 2016, the Nintendo Switch presentation was held in January 2017, and the system itself launched worldwide March 3rd, 2017. All even counting Breath of the Wild at E3 2016, and the Game Awards was within the April 1st, 2016 to April 1st, 2017 Nintendo fiscal year. This is the corporate side of Nintendo. Here patterns are more stable. In other words, there is a possibility of a Nintendo Switch 2 reveal before the end of this fiscal year. But if Nintendo stays their course, as they have done pretty much throughout this and prior decade, then we should be positively surprised by a January or even February system reveal rather than expected. This company can be unpredictable with some things like games. But when it comes to hardware, they have been really consistent. Why? For executives and stockholders plus partners to know what to expect. The probability of a Game Awards 2023 reveal was 0. And though the percentage increases in the first quarter of 2024, it isn't the highest. Now, there's one key detail we have avoided thus far in this video, and that is the timeframe from reveal to release of new systems. Specifically, when we look at Japanese systems, that is to say Sony and Nintendo, in the last 10 years. Here, the average is a 5-month gap from reveal of the actual system, that is to say final name and appearance, to launch in North American stores. The PlayStation 4 was revealed in June at E3 2013 and came out November 15th in North America. The same went for PlayStation 5, which was properly revealed in June 2020 when E3 was cancelled, and its global worldwide launch was in November, a 5-month gap. The Nintendo Switch was revealed in October 2016 and released in March 2017, even less, but very close to 5 months. Why this extensive reveal to release timeframe? Because Nintendo, distributors and retailers need time to prepare orders and prepare stock to meet the demand of a worldwide simultaneous release after the most successful console of all time. So let's say 4 to 5 months in advance. Following simple math, we just need to look at potential launch windows to predict the reveal. If January is supposed to be the reveal month, the system would likely be out by June. A February reveal gives us July, and March, August. An April reveal, which is the first month in the new fiscal year, gives us September. Personally, I think this is the most realistic window, allowing 2 months before June and a proper Nintendo Direct dedicated to the system, plus the games launching on it a few months later. That, or even close to the second quarter of the year. That is to say, a June reveal and late October or November release. The Sony model. A little risky if PlayStation launches PS5 Pro, but then again, here we are talking about an entirely new generation. But even if we take this into consideration, Switch 2 September launch gives us an April reveal, which is something we want to keep in the back of our minds. Since there's so much more to the reveal and launch of Nintendo's next system than just looking at the Switch having a presentation in January 2017. After all, by doing that, you forget the context of said event. Trying to restore Nintendo from the Wii U after the first look reveal trailer in October 2016, but before the already confirmed launch in March 2017. Plus all of that was within the same Nintendo fiscal year, April 2016 to April 2017. Same goes with the return of Zelda Wii U as Breath of the Wild in June 2016. Nintendo's fiscal years, not regular calendar years. That is what we need to keep in mind no matter what. Just because it is 2024 doesn't mean that it is switching to time yet. Jokes aside, it could happen at any point. But just like some were screaming Switch 2 before the Game Awards 2023, then it doesn't mean that it will happen. Nintendo are calculating and know that they are fully dependent on this system succeeding. Rushing it out in the first month too long before the release of the actual system in stores could only harm sales of the Switch. In other words, depending on the launch, and this one being in the fiscal year starting April 2024, then the second half of 2024 looks like the most probable release window when we look at the 5-month pattern and reveal and release within the same fiscal year. April reveal to September launch, though potentially before late in the month being the hottest option. And with that logical note, I think we have covered the details, and all that remains is to listen for signals, specifically from the bird who's never been wrong up to now. But what do you think? When will Switch Successor on Nintendo's next-gen system be revealed, and how? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell. Not miss any Nintendo next-gen system videos in 2024. Last but not least, a big thanks to all our patreon.com/CommonRealm patrons. Special shoutouts go to our raw producers Zach Johnson and JC Funk, and heroes Holly Wolf, Cheryl, Garrett Hoy, and Jeffrey van Driest. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.